Welcome. This is Astrology Insight Now, a weekly forecast program with astrology and other ways to help you make the most of your week and to heighten confidence for daily life. It's run by Pamela Cuccinell, that's me, the astrologer, and I invite you to find out more about my work at insightoasis.com. I look forward to your joining us every week. Please share with your friends, and here we go. Hello, so I'm here to talk about the week of May 11th, 2026 from an astrological perspective. And those of you who listened last week, I talked about different bumps, things that maybe weren't flowing the way we would like them to flow. This week, we have much more ability to follow through and wrap up and move with the waning moon energy, which really works best for completing things, deciding what we're not working on as we enter the next lunar cycle, organizing, wrapping up, but also if we're in process with something, just carrying it through into the next stage. Or obviously with things that are more long-term projects, we're focused on something that may very well carry into the next lunar stage, but we are best served if we're not trying to launch something or start something new. That does inevitably happen with a waning moon cycle. What's important is to pay attention to work with the energies in the best way possible than being the salmon fighting your way upstream, essentially. So Monday the 11th into Tuesday, these are kind of the most challenging days of the week, but even so, not necessarily like a game changer, like do not do that. Basically, what's happening is that moon in Pisces, as it travels through the sky, will make a last aspect within a 90-degree angle from Earth's perspective with the planet Venus. So what that means is that, especially for people who have challenging aspects between Venus and Moon in their personal horoscope, it may feel as though the cup is half full, or you can't quite get everything to fill up or receive what you need and want, that one has to be at the compromise of others. This may very well be an illusion, especially if you're born with that aspect. It just can feel like, oh, this again, or oh, I know this sort of shortchanged feeling, or oh, I've got to sacrifice in order to make something happen that I really want or need to have happen. What's important is to observe and do your best to fill both needs, fill both desires. And certainly if it's a group or a community activity, it's the value, and this becomes very rich on especially Monday, is to listen to all sides. Everybody who's involved in the project or the gambit or something you're trying to make happen, let them be heard. And if it's an issue of feeling a well of sympathy, compassion, or wanting to include or invite someone to the table, find ways to do that, even if remotely, because the fulfillment of whatever you may be working on becomes more possible as we go through the week. And these couple of days may be exercises in how to be more inclusive, or how to really measure the importance of certain things against others. And the benefits of doing more wider listening. And this can be within yourself. I mean, I don't know about you, but I have conversations in my head often. And I have learned over the years, I mean, I'm an astrologer, so I have my way of looking at it. But even when I was in working in analysis and Jungian analysis, the understanding of, okay, that part of my psyche wants this to happen. And this part of my psyche is lobbying for that. And then, of course, there's that bossy little piece in the back that always wants to be heard. So the idea is, how do you, or whether you're leading a group or whether you're making a decision in your head, how do you filter through the different voices, the different needs, the different desires to determine what the focus or the priority is? And so this can be a highly constructive day. It can be a very creative day. It can be a day where, I mean, some of us might just want to be at the beach or be in nature, or if we're hard at work at a desk, we may want to listen to some music that allows us to be able to go through the process and do the things we need to do. Whatever the motivator is to keep you on task, that is very stimulated by engagement. What brings in the play or the curiosity or the conversation that keeps things flowing, interesting. So we don't want to kind of get lost in the netherworld and just sort of float and feel very indecisive, although that can be very valuable to do for a 15-minute, half-hour break, whatever it is we need to meditate, step into the well of self discovery, refresh, reboot, so that we can go and do whatever it is we need to do this day and into this week. Can be a very restorative evening for sleep. And then on the 12th, Tuesday, again, Eastern time looking at, this becomes the day where that moon in Pisces opens up the day and doesn't go void until 6:04 a.m. Eastern time. After that point in time, it's void of course for most of the working dead, depending on where you are and what your hours of work are, until 8:04 p.m. that evening. And so the moon in Pisces, void of course moon, is really a time when we want to float. I think of it as a time where, okay, I'm crossing the lake, which is something I did as a kid, swimming. And never was a racer, marathon swimmer like my siblings, but I need to restore, gather energy, and also look around me, float. So part of the journey is to take that float time. You're still moving. You might have what do they call them? A kickboard or a noodle or something that's allowing you to coast, but you're not putting extreme effort into like going in a certain direction. You are going in a direction, even if that direction is simply to restore. So this is a terrific day for getting a sense of where you're at. Where am I in the project? Is it moving in a direction that is allowing me flow? And if you're not, if you feel a sense of stasis or you're just not not sure what the next turn in the road should be, or even if you should be continuing on, do something that, if you're at work, do something that supports the task, but doesn't necessarily push with a defiance or a headstrong sense of this is the only way to do this, because more information is coming in. It's just you're in a space of allowing now. So depending on what the project is or what's going on, the allowing is very vital for continuing in a way that's going to get you to the other side. Now, the moon goes void of course, as I said, at 6:04 a.m., and it enters the sign of Aries at 8:04 p.m. Woo! Very different energy. We move from water mutable to fire cardinal. So that's water, the modality that is just all about let's gather, let's flow, let's listen, let's create, let's feel. And immutability, it's as amorphous as a sponge in the ocean. It just kind of comes in and comes out and allows. Then we're in fire cardinal, Aries, which is, wow, I just grabbed the baton and I am running. So once we move into that, which timing wise in this case is Eastern time in the evening, that can be totally jazzed. I slept most of the day and now I am out dancing. Not recommended for all of us, but that might work for some of us. For other people, it may be, whoa, I just got this energy burst and I can't sleep or I'm so wired. It's very valuable to do things that help you to wind down if that's what you need to do. An evening walk after dinner, dancing in place in your home if you're not going out, doing things that your body are used to. You're not going to suddenly get into a weightlifting thing if that's not something you do, but doing things that help you experience energy in a way that is moving it, but also allowing it to taper down. Because what you want to do ideally is to taper down into dream space, if that's your time zone, so that you can gather your resources for the next day into Thursday. So Wednesday and Thursday, which are high power action days. Again, we're in the waning moon cycle, so we're not necessarily opening the doors and starting a new venture, although we may be. I mean, sometimes that's just the way life goes. Babies get born, things happen, in spite of the fact that the astrologer's saying, oh, waning moon cycle, we're wrapping things up. Well, wrapping things up can be also pushing forward depending on what the thing is. Sometimes wrapping up is, okay, I just finished my book and now I am talking to more people about marketing it. We have to look at what the thing is and also who the person is to know how to best utilize or make this energy move out. But in general, on Wednesday, we have a gangbusters day for pushing forward creatively, connecting with power brokers, and also working with the support system we have. sometimes, and this really becomes very obvious on a day like Wednesday the 13th, when the moon is in Aries, Saturn is in Aries, and basically I am showing up, I am ready, and where is the team? So if the folks who said, yes, we're behind you, or we are going to be there, or you have our support, if they aren't there, then it's decision time. It's okay, that's it. I'm not counting on this one or that one, or I'm going forward regardless, or hey, you showed up, let's run. And you move forward with a sense of these are my people. This is my team. And if nobody's around you and it's just you, then it's an assessment, because this happens at times. Let's say you have Saturn that's transiting your moon or your sun or Venus, and you realize, oh, I was relying on that person. And once again, that person is not showing up. And so it brings home, it brings into super clarity. I've given that person a lot of slack, but clearly what I need that person to do is not who that person is, or not at this point in time, perhaps. So it's an assessment. It's not necessarily, oh, wow, I am so disappointed. It's more a realization, okay, not going to work, moving on. Let me see who will work or see what I can do on my own initiative. Thursday, we're still moving with that Aries energy. And the important thing about today is that we're crystal clear what is our priority and what is our push. Because if we know that going into the day in the early morning, it causes a lot less stress for putting energy in something that just isn't going to give us the results we need. And this actually is true a bit for Wednesday before, that the day is best utilized by working on the things that are coming together easily. And that actually dovetails well with what I said about, if people aren't showing up, work with what you can work with. Don't get hung up on what can't happen. Because a lot can happen if we don't just sort of rue the day or just say, oh, I'm so disappointed. I'm defeated before I start. Don't let that happen with the moon in Aries, especially this time, because there's so much support with Mars also being in Aries, saying, yes, take the initiative. We can do what we can with what we've got. Work with what you've got. That's the fire over these couple of days. And the moon goes void, of course, on Thursday at 5:33 p.m. So then we're in an evening that we've got energy, but there may not be any more things that are necessarily going to rush in and create a new momentum. So the ideal is by late afternoon, you've made the push, and now maybe it's just wrapping up, finishing up, cleaning up. The moon enters Taurus at 10:33 p.m. And this is leading us into the Taurus New Moon, which happens on Saturday the 16th. This is setting up a really sweet weekend, or rather Friday into Saturday. And and actually continued into Sunday in different energetic ways. But I really recommend that, if possible, Friday is spent with good food, people you like to talk with. Saturday too, if you're even luckier, get 2 days of it, or one or the other, and just really sink in to the pleasure of being alive. Be somewhere where you can enjoy color, scent, physical experience. To be alive is such a gift in all its variations. Of course, there are very difficult periods. And when we can savor what is possible, then on a day when the moon is in Taurus, it just becomes more. Because the moon in Taurus celebrates the gift of being in the physical body. It awakens senses of smell and taste and touch, and how we see, how we hear, how our physical body responds to where it is in space. So ideally, at some point over this period, as the moon is sailing through Taurus, we want to be able to be in a space where we feel that joy of the tactile, of the experience of being physically responding to the wealth of sense response around us. The thing to be aware of on Friday is, in the early morning, there can be a little tension, power struggle, a sense of things that we want that maybe are not coming together, or someone in our way about something that we want to manifest or bring forth. Once we move past that, it's just a delicious day, or can be. So I hope it is for you. Saturday, the 16th, is when the moon returns as new to the sign of Taurus, and that occurs at 4:01 p.m. Eastern Time. And then it's still in Taurus at 9:02 p.m. It goes void of course. And for a little over an hour, it's void of course until it enters Gemini at 10:23 p.m. And so this is just a great time. I mean, when that new moon strikes at late afternoon, to just be thinking about, what is it I want to start or bring into the world in a actual concrete manifestation, because Taurus is fixed earth. So it's about something that actually is physically manifested. So anything that is a dream that you want to concretize, a product you want to create, something you want to give birth to, metaphorically or in reality, a new person. These are things to allow to rudiment and believe as possibilities, and to energetically put hope, focus, and even determination into. The actual initiation of this, whatever this may happen relatively soon. Sometimes after a new moon, we have these, what I call drift days, where, it's sort of like the seed is finding its way into the soil and it's not quite feeling nested yet, or the the fluid it needs to connect with the earth. But this actually happens fairly quickly, because once the moon is in the sign of Gemini, then we're in the ideas. It's like the match is struck and the ideas start to zip around. Air mutable is Gemini. So conversations. So it might have been you had a very enriching day, experiencing things, hearing things, smelling things, tasting things, seeing things. And then the evening may be buzzy, where there's a lot of thoughts coming in or enter through the dreamscape. And then the next day, Sunday, is very electric, very buzzy, very full of ideas, and it may not be anything that's quite there yet, but the initiation energy is very bright, very almost childlike in its sense of, oh, look at this, or what about that, or let's go here. And the outer planet energy is really supporting this kind of electric communication. So essential right now, because many of us are kind of like bouncing around with so much is going on. You've got to sift through what is the thing that is still going to allow continuity. The moon goes void, of course, at 3:36 p.m., and then it's void until Monday. So basically, I think the best way to be using this week is to focus before we get to that new moon and think in terms of, what am I completing? What am I finishing up? What am I getting ready to do? Because when we're in that lovely dark of moon time, which is just so fecund and delicious, as of especially late evening Thursday into Friday, we just are sinking into that sense of, what am I going to sail and enrich and make happen? And so by the time, so we become perfectly poised by the time that new moon comes in to take action. Maybe not immediately like jump up and running, but start to engage in the conversations, even if just in your head, to unravel and lead to tremendous focus and direction. You have been listening to Astrology Insight Now. Please share with your friends, and if you'd like to make a donation, you can do so at astrologyinsightnow.com. Have a stellar week, and we hope to see you next time.